and again, she was a U.S. citizen and she was white, born here. I can't imagine how it is for brown folk or people who can't speak English as properly, or who don't know the law. It just has to be absolutely crazy. Hello, hello. I don't know what I was doing there with the mic, but I hope everybody's doing fantastic. And man, what a year it's been so far. 2026. I mean, 9 days in, and there's lots of fuckery afoot. There is lots of shit going on. However, this is a follow-up to my last video that I made where I said that I would be doing some political commentary. I would like to rescind that, just because it is crazy out there. Just, I'm pretty sure you've seen the news. So being a brown man and being tatted and just, despite being a U.S. citizen, I mean, I've been a citizen for more than 15 years or so now, and I just feel it is a crazy time to be alive because no matter, you know, the police have this thing called qualified immunity, right? Which certain agencies nowadays have that heightened. It's like qualified immunity plus plus, whereas in the person who got gunned down in Minnesota, that was a white female who was born here. She was an American citizen, and despite however it came out, I mean, minutes after, she was being labeled as a domestic terrorist. So I think they are targeting people. That's just my opinion. I mean, for what it's worth. And it's crazy getting on Facebook and literally seeing so many hateful comments. And I mean, honestly, we're divided. Like, the U.S. has never been more divided. They call it the left and the right, but honestly, it's the poor versus the wealthy. And unfortunately, the people that are arguing, myself included, about this, we're not in the wealthy camp because they don't have time for this, quite frankly. We are divided. We need to come together peacefully, because even if you do come together peacefully, I mean, there's going to be always a propaganda, there's always going to be a narrative. So, God forbid, if you're pulled over, comply. That's what my advice would be. But that doesn't necessarily always guarantee that it's going to be a positive outcome, or it's not going to be agitated, or you're not going to be listed as, say, a bad actor, or you were acting in bad faith, right? Because the police lie, the government agencies lie. Everybody is, at the end of the day, they're doing their job, and they're going to do their job how they see fit. And now that they have this blanket of, the leadership, or as high as the leadership goes, everybody just backs them up. Same things happen with cops, right? Anytime there is a matter that's being brought up to their higher ups, they're going to have qualified immunity, which lets them be immune to certain charges that they can basically handcuff somebody really tight or treat them like shit, and they're gonna be like, oh well, we were just doing our job, guys. But and a lot of older white people, Karens and Kevins, will tell you, oh well, only if you just complied, or only if she would have gotten out of the car when they told her to get out, everything would have been okay. But again, if you look at the Constitution, you look at the law, a person of law or a law authority figure can't just reach in and grab your door and open that. You need to have some sort of reasonable doubt, or something suspicious, or some reason why you're being detained or you're being questioned. An officer can't just come and open up your car, right? That just is not a thing. But again, err on the side of caution, because these are crazy times. Be careful, comply, and do whatever you can to get home alive and safely. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be labeled as a domestic terrorist, God forbid. If even if you have your rights, you're doing the right thing, and you're acting within the Constitution, is it really worth the risk? So I kind of wanted to rescind what I was saying about, like, making political comments or doing commentary about this administration, because again, it's a bunch of thugs. That's how it's being run. And the right is going to be absolutely saying, oh well, you're wrong, or that ICE agent was in the right, this, that, and the third. But that's my thing, is just be careful, be safe out there, do everything peacefully, comply, and try to avoid what you can, because it's hard, especially me making this video as a brown man. I have a photocopy of my passport, a photocopy of my citizenship in my wallet. Just God forbid if the day ever comes and I absolutely plan on complying. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to make it home alive and okay to my, my family, my parents, not my family, definitely my parents. But yeah, it's a crazy world out there. Just be careful and try to I not let the craziness affect you, because again, it can definitely heighten up anxiety. It can definitely heighten up your depression and stuff of that nature to see the law being pimped out. And well, not really the law; it's the Constitution that's being pimped out. But what can you do? We're not in the tax bracket that these type of things are gonna we're going to be able to change them. I mean, yes, protesting is absolutely amazing and that's one of our rights, but at the end of the day, is it really changing anything? They're just gonna keep saying that, oh, it's the crazy leftist. It wasn't a peaceful protest, but lots of peas there. But even when it is peaceful, it's gonna be labeled as it's not, and even if you're complying, you're gonna be labeled as a bad actor. So as long as you're standing up against, you're going against the grain, so to speak. So once again, like I've said it 1,000 times at this point, be careful. Use common sense. Not to say that when that officer was telling her to get out of the car, if she would have gotten out, maybe she would have been alive. Like, and again, she was a U.S. citizen and she was white, born here. I can't imagine how it is for brown folk or people who can't speak English as properly, or who don't know the law. It just has to be absolutely crazy, and we are living through a crazy time. The left and the right are so divided. We are against our neighbor, which is crazy because you're supposed to love your neighbor. As they say, they're Christians, right? And one of the Ten Commandments is love thy neighbor, but love thy neighbor only if they're right winged, or love thy neighbor only if they're left wing. That's not how the world works. And again, in a perfect world, we would disagree amicably and learn to, respect each other's beliefs, morals, views. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world, and unfortunately, things get labeled radically either right or left. Um, but I still have hope that everybody can come together in the middle and things will be okay, because things have to be okay. I mean, life goes on. God forbid the thing that happened to her. I saw news like it happened to somebody else in Portland too. Like a couple got shot, and it is slowly going to become more and more okay. And just like with everything else, the envelope is going to keep being pushed just little by little to the point where it's just we're going to be desensitized to it if we aren't already desensitized. But anyways, that was my little rant about not. So I made a political commentary about not making a political commentary, pretty much. But yeah, I am gonna respectfully keep my opinions to myself for another 3 years, and then we'll see where the apples fall and just kind of go from there. But till then, please be safe. Hug your parents. Tell your dog you love them, and just use common sense. And God be with you, and whoever you believe in, may they guide you home and to peace. All right, bye. Also, a quick little sidebar. If you do get pulled over, and if you do happen to come up with an authority figure that you feel like you're right, shut the fuck up and comply. Request a lawyer. Anything you say will be and can be taken against you. I mean, it's literally right there in the Miranda rights, and sometimes they don't even read you the Miranda rights, but it is imperative that you comply and stay quiet and not get shot, because again, qualified immunity, they're gonna find a way for it to be absolutely a-okay. So again, do your research, know your laws, and have a lawyer on standby. Like, literally have a lawyer.